Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So I'm very excited to do my first book haul of 2022. These are books that I've accumulated over the last, I guess, two and a half months or so. Very, very happy with the stack that I have, especially because this time I think at least 50% of these books are by female authors, which is always a plus. Love there are more female voices in the horror community. And I can't wait to share what I've picked up for you guys. As always, if you want to follow my reading journey alongside me in real time and not just at the end wrap-ups of every month or for my isolated video reviews, follow me on Instagram at Prynne. I do mini reviews on every single book that I read. All right, so let's dive into this haul. I think I have 10 books today, so we're gonna go through them. And as always, I read primarily horror and thriller and like gothic, so all of these books will pertain to that genre sphere. All right, so first up is The Searcher by Tana French. I believe this is her latest novel. I'm not 100% sure. I was at book club bar with my friend and she was raving about how much she loved this book and basically told me I needed to buy it. So I did. I read Tana French's debut novel, In the Woods, about 6 months ago, and I really enjoyed it. I like her writing style, so I'm interested to see what this one is about. So I'll read the back of the book for you. Cal Hooper thought a fixer-upper in a remote Irish village would be the perfect escape. After 25 years in the Chicago police force and a bruising divorce, he just wants to build a new life in a pretty spot with a good pub where nothing much happens. But when a local kid whose brother has gone missing arm twists him into investigating, Cal discovers that even in the most idyllic small town, dangerous secrets lie hidden, and trouble can come calling at his door. One of the greatest crime novelists writing today weaves a masterful atmospheric tale of suspense, asking how to tell right from wrong in a world where neither is simple and what we stake on that decision. Very cool. It doesn't tell me too much about this book, but I do like, again, the Irish small town, like whodunit kind of crime thriller. I did like In the Woods quite a lot. So again, very excited for this. Okay, next up is The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor. I read C.J. Tudor's debut novel just a month or two ago, The Chalk Man, and I really liked it. It was a very different style of coming-of-age horror, and I appreciated the originality that she put into this, and I've heard Burning Girls is very good, so I wanted to see what her latest novel was. A dark history lingers in Chapelcroft. 500 years ago, Protestant martyrs were betrayed, then burned. 30 years ago, 2 teenage girls disappeared without a trace. And a few weeks ago, the vicar of the local parish hanged himself in the nave of the church. Reverend Jack Brooks, a single parent with a 14-year-old daughter and a heavy conscience, arrives in the village hoping for a fresh start. Instead, Jack finds a town rife with conspiracies and secrets, and is greeted with a strange welcome package, an exorcism kit, and a note that warns, but there is nothing covered up that will not be revealed, and hidden that will not be known. The more Jack and his daughter Flo explore the town and get to know its strange denizens, the deeper they are drawn into the age-old rifts, mysteries, and suspicions. And when Flo begins to see the specters of girls ablaze, it becomes apparent there are ghosts here that refuse to be laid to rest. Uncovering the truth can be deadly in a village with a bloody past, where everyone has something to hide and no one trusts an outsider. Ooh, okay. I believe C.J. Tudor is British, so I'm hoping this has to do with, like, the burning of witches, like in the 1500s. That could be really cool. I don't know. But I know that The Chalk Man had a lot of religious undertones and criticisms in that as well. This clearly seems to have some. So very excited to read that. I hope it's good. Okay, next up, I have Waif by Samantha Kolesnik. I hope that's how you say it. This was sent to me by my friend Blackacre Doe. He read it and he loved it and sent it my way. It's very short. It's only 100 pages, but very excited for this, so let's read the back. Angela has everything she thought she ever wanted. A successful husband, a lavish house, and a bottomless fortune. But the sight of a strange man in a grocery store one night reawakens her dominant sexuality, and soon Angela embarks on a dangerous descent into the world of underground pornography and back alley plastic surgery. As the stakes get higher, long-buried memories resurface, and Angela finds herself enamored with Rena, a fetish film performer. With some help from a queer gang called the Waifs, Angela is forced to make the decision between her unhappy upper-class life and the treacherous world of underground film. So I believe this is going to be very, like, splatterpunk. It is by Grindhouse, but one of the things that Black Acre mentioned to me was that he really liked seeing a splatterpunk female voice, and that this really spoke to him because it was told from a female perspective and a female author instead of your typical male writing that kind of stuff about women. So I'm really interested to see that. This is not something I would normally gravitate towards or read, but he had spoken so highly of it that I'm really, really interested to read about it and see what it is. And it's only 100 pages. Okay, next up. This is The Silent Wife by Karen Slaughter. I have been dying to read a Karen Slaughter novel because E-Town Bookworm on Instagram literally is always singing her praises. I've never read anything by Karen Slaughter before. However, I did find out that this is like the last book combining 2 of Karen Slaughter's series. I was notified that I can read this as a standalone. I might read it as a standalone because I didn't realize it was in a series that I would have to read like 7 books beforehand. And I just read Joe Nesbo's book 7 of his Harry Hole stories all without having read anything else. So hopefully I can read this as a standalone because I really want to get into Karen Slaughter. So, back to the book. Responding to a killing during a riot inside a state penitentiary, GBI investigator Will Trent is confronted with disturbing information. One of the inmates claims that he is innocent of a brutal attack for which he has always been the prime suspect, and that he was framed by a corrupt law enforcement team led by Jeffrey Tolliver. If this is true, a serial killer who has been systemically preying on women across Georgia for years is still out there. Only days ago, another young woman was viciously murdered in a state park. Could it be the same killer? If Will reopens the investigation and implicates the dead police officer with a hero's reputation of wrongdoing, the opportunistic convict will provide crucial information about the riot murder. Yet nearly a decade has passed. Time for memories to fade, witnesses to vanish, evidence to disappear. His best chance of discovering the truth might lie with the person he doesn't want involved, his girlfriend and Jeffrey Tolliver's widow, medical examiner Sarah Linton. When the past and present begin to collide, Will realizes that everything he values is at stake. That could be fun. I've heard Karen Slaughter is just absolutely excellent, so I'm very, very excited to finally dive into her work. Okay, next up, I picked up Seed by Anya Allborn, pretty much because in a recent Nightworms package, I believe my November package, I got a book from Anya Allborn called Palmetto and a book called A Cold Place for Dying by Christopher Triana. And I loved both of them, so I wanted to read more from these authors. So Seed was actually a book that I've almost bought multiple times in bookstores because I really liked the cover. I was very drawn to that. Didn't realize that it was an Anya Allborn book, and when I put the 2 together, I was like, yeah, I have to finally pick it up. So, on the back. With nothing but the clothes on his back and something horrific snapping at his heels, Jack Winter fled his rural Georgia home when he was just a boy. Ooh, multiple Georgia books in this. Watching the world he knew vanish in a trucker's rearview mirror, he thought he was leaving an unspeakable nightmare behind forever. Now, years later, the bright new future he's built suddenly turns pitch black as something fiendishly familiar looms dead ahead. Surviving a violent crash seems like a miracle for Jack's family, but Jack knows there's nothing divine about it. The profound evil he uncovered as a boy has finally found him again. The thing that crouched at his bedside with soulless eyes and grinning razor-sharp teeth is back with plans for Jack and his angelic youngest daughter, and a chilling promise. I've always been here, and I'll never leave. Ooh, I hope this is good. That sounds really, really interesting. I love all these Southern settings. I really enjoy like Southern Gothic and Southern horror. I think I'm gonna do a video on some of my favorites because there's a lot out there. And I have a very picky taste when it comes to that type of stuff. Like there's a lot of like classics that I don't actually like and a lot of more obscure things that I think are amazing. So maybe I'll do a video on that very soon. Okay, next up. I picked up Gone to See the Riverman by Christopher Triana. Like I said, I just read A Cold Place for Dying, and I believe Erin Megan on YouTube recommended this book as one of the most disturbing books she had ever read, so really interested in that. When it showed up in the mail and it was only like 160 pages, I was shocked. So I'm really interested to see how much disturbing imagery Christopher Triana can pack into such a short novel. All right. Super fans, groupies, stalkers. These people will give anything for the idols they worship, be they rock stars, actors, or authors, or even serial killers. Laurie's obsession is with Edmund Cox, who was convicted of butchering more than 20 women. She will do anything to get close to him, so when he gives her a task, she accepts. She has no idea of the horror that awaits her. Edmund says she must go to his cabin in the woods and retrieve a key to deliver to a mysterious figure known only as the Riverman. She brings along her sister, and the trip becomes a surreal nightmare, one that digs up Laurie's personal demons, the one she feels bonds her to Edmund. Soon she will learn the Riverman is not quite fact or folklore, and definitely not human. At least, not anymore. Oh, I love that. That premise sounds amazing. This is also a Grindhouse publication. So lots of Grindhouse in here today. I've heard just nothing but incredible, incredible things about this. I hope it lives up to its expectations. There's a lot of like underground hype around it. But hopefully it's not like super utterly disturbing. I think there's body horror and like existential dread as it's like premise, and I hope that's kind of where it's contained. I'm nervous to read it, but very excited. Okay, next up, I had to pick this up. This is the Valancourt Book of Victorian Christmas Ghost Stories. This is volume 1. I got volume 5 in my December Nightworms package, and I loved it. The volume 5 was not strictly Christmas stories, but they were stories that were initially released to the public as part of like the Christmas ghost story tradition in Victorian times. So I'm hoping that this one is similar, where I can read it any time of the year, though I probably will hold off until closer to the end of 2022 to read this. But I did really love the first one, or I did really love volume 5 so much that I wanted to pick up the first one, and I love this cover. The first ever collection of Victorian Christmas ghost stories, culled from the rare 19th century periodicals. During the Victorian era, it became traditional for publishers of newspapers and magazines to print ghost stories during the Christmas season for chilling winter reading by the fireside or candlelight. Now, for the first time, 13 of these tales are collected here, including a wide range of stories from a diverse group of authors, some well-known, others anonymous or forgotten. Readers whose only previous experience with Victorian Christmas ghost stories has been Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol will be surprised and delighted at the astonishing variety of ghostly tales in this volume. Okay, ooh, this has way more names that I actually know of. I didn't know anybody in the first collection, but we have Walter Scott, Elizabeth Gaskell, Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. That's great. And then there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 anonymous ghost stories in this. I'm really, really excited. I think I've actually read The Tapestried Chamber, but I think that's the only one that I've read in here. Ooh, I'm very, very excited for this. So maybe I will get to that sooner instead of waiting a whole year to get to it. Okay, so next up, I was in one of my favorite bookstores the other day. I'm not going to say where I found this just because I don't need people to know my secrets. But no, so I was in one of my favorite bookstores yesterday, and I saw this in their horror section, and I was like, wait a second, that's a graveyard edition from Cemetery Dance Publications. These are not cheap editions. And then I opened up the price tag, and they were selling it for $20. $20! And they have the list price on here listed as $40, and I know that that's actually not accurate either. And then I went and Googled it, and it's like anywhere from like $70 and like upwards online. So I was like, yeah, I need to pick this up. I don't know anything about the Red Church. I don't know anything about Scott Nicholson, but I do love Cemetery Dance, and I do have their Paul Tremblay Head Full of Ghost edition from the Graveyard Editions. I have Little Girls by Ronald Malfi. I actually just ordered The Night Parade, which is book 7 in this series. There's only 500 copies of these available. They are all signed. Ta-da! And this is number 28 out of 500. So when I saw this, I was like, yes, 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 I must own this. So I bought it. It's beautiful. It matches my nails. I'm very happy with that. And knew nothing about it. But then I went on Goodreads and I read about it, and I was like, oh, this sounds great. So very, very excited to have it. And I will read the Goodreads description for you now. Okay, so it says, and the only reason I'm reading this off Goodreads is because this doesn't have a synopsis in the book. Okay. The church was constructed in the 1860s under the guidance of Reverend Wendell McFall. His sermons declared the existence of God's second son, whose mission is to undo all of Jesus' work on earth. McFall had the church painted red to summon the first son to defeat the second. But when he sacrificed a child to support his rantings, his congregation hung him from the rafters of his own sanctuary. For 20 years, the Red Church has stood empty, crumbling to ruin. It has become a site for Halloween pranks and the setting of ghost stories. including one about the thing that lives in the bell tower, a creature being blamed for a brutal murder that occurred in the church's graveyard. Now Arthur McFall has purchased the church to house his Temple of the Two Suns, whose zealous worshippers will stop at nothing to see the second son return to his full glory. I'm hoping it's cults. I'm hoping this is like absurdist religious cults. But yeah, no, I am just stunned. If you've never seen these Cemetery Dance publications before, they're absolutely beautiful. I believe it's imitation leather, and they're just this gorgeous, gorgeous printing. And I was so blown away when I got my Paul Tremblay one. I had to get the Ronald Malfi one. Saw this, wasn't even a second chance, had to have it. So definitely recommend you guys checking those out. You can find them on Cemetery Dance's homepage. There's 7 that have been released. Only 1 is currently available. The rest have all sold out. I think you can get others on like eBay or like secondhand bookstores. Might have them, but they're a beautiful, beautiful edition. And just if you're interested in indie horror authors, keep an eye out on Cemetery Dance's website, because they do, I believe, 1 to 2 of these special limited edition releases every single year. All right, and the last 2 books that I have for y'all are Christmas presents that my family got me, and I'm really, really pleased with. So my stepdad got me this. This is called Sherlock Holmes and Count Dracula by Christian Claver. I really love how beautiful this book is. It's hardbound. It looks like a very like old school, you know, imitation of something like this. And I'll read the inside flap for you. Oh, and I love this. Look at this design. It's little like magnifying glasses and little bats. So it says, Sherlock Holmes is dead. His body lies in a solitary grave on the Sussex Downs, England. But Dr. Watson survives. It is now given permission to release tales in Sherlock's classified dossier. Those cases that are, dear reader, unbelievable, for their subject matter is of the most and grotesque nature. In this thrilling first volume of the classified dossier, a Transylvanian nobleman called Count Dracula arrives at Baker Street seeking the help of Sherlock Holmes, for his beloved wife Nina has been kidnapped. But Dracula is a client like no other, and Holmes and Watson must confront, despite the wild, unbelievable notion, the existence of vampires. And before long, Holmes, Watson, and their new vampire allies must work together to banish a powerful enemy growing in the shadows. I feel like this is going to be very fun. This is probably going to be like kind of like almost like a fan fiction kind of mashup novel, but it's totally right up my alley. I recently read Cindy Wingett's mashup of The Haunting of Hill House and a lot of Edgar Allan Poe's short stories called The Fall of the House of Crane, which I had a lot of fun reading that. It was a little YA in tone, but I didn't mind. So I'm kind of hoping that this is like a similar vibe. And again, I just love this cover. It's so cool. Okay, and last but not least, my boyfriend's brother got me this, and he just like nailed it out of the park. So this is Penny Dreadful's Sensational Tales of Terror. And I mean, like, this book, look at the silver, the cover, the candle, the lion knocker, like just everything about this I think is absolutely stunning. The inside of the book, I mean, it's just gorgeous. And it's just a collection of a bunch of Penny Dreadfuls, a lot of really famous ones. So, for example, the first book in here is the infamous Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus by Mary Shelley. It has The Adventure of the German Student by Washington Irving, The Werewolf, A Legend of the Limousine by Richard Thompson, The Pit and the Pendulum by Edgar Allan Poe, a bunch of stories I have not heard of. We do get The Dream Woman by Wilkie Collins, The Case of Lady Sannox by Arthur Conan Doyle. We get The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Oh, we get The Duelists? That's really hard to say. Or The Death Doom of the Double Born by Bram Stoker, and a bunch of others. So I'm very, very excited to read this. I do love that it includes some of the more classic Penny Dreadfuls from back in the day. If you've ever seen the TV show Penny Dreadful, I believe it was on Showtime with Eva Green. Amazing, amazing book. But a lot of the characters in that were taken from the Victorian Penny Dreadfuls at the time, hence the title. So super, super happy to get my hands on a bunch of Penny Dreadfuls I've never read before. And again, the book is so stunningly beautiful. I'm obsessed. Anyway, anyways, that is all that I have for you guys today in this month's book haul. I'm very, very excited to dive into these. Any of the newer releases that I have will absolutely get full reviews on my channel. And every now and then I find a book that was released years ago that I just fall in love with and have to do a full deep dive review on. So that might pop up on my channel as well. Anyways, as always, thank you all so much for watching. I post every Monday and Thursday, sometimes on Saturdays. And if you like these videos, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below. And I will catch you all in the next one. Mwah.